The press release online does have it correct, and we apologize for that mistake.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that. That is a little bit like, oh, it ain't right.
We don't like that. So, Chief Norman.
So I'd just first like to start out by saying it's a pleasure for me to be here to speak with you all today. Understand that this is a serious process, a process that will set the tone for the department, set the tone for our city, set a tone for our residents. And I just want to make sure that I'm able to present and address what the seriousness of this particular position calls for in regards to, are you reassured you have the right individual leading the men and women of the Austin Police Department? Are you reassured that you have the right individual who has the best interest in mind, not only for what is good for what the department that we all desire, but most importantly, what's good for your city? So with that being said, I appreciate the opportunity to field any particular questions, and we'll start whichever we point to.
So you'll be coming in during a time when the department's currently not under a police contract and staffing levels are low. What would be your plan to address that and increase staffing and recruitment?
So understand that the staffing is an issue, but I'd like to level set this particular conversation. Staffing is an issue across the country. Major cities are dealing with staffing issues that we all are coming together to address as leaders, respective organizations. But what is important when we're dealing with staffing issues is what's the tone of your city in regards to supporting those particular departments? Do you have a unified message? Do you show the support to those who are putting in the work? Because those messages affect recruitment and also retention. I am not aware of all the details of the contract, but I will hope that there will be some positive resolution between that in regards to the city and the department, so that the work that needs to be done within our city can be focused on, which is keeping the city safe.
Yeah, and what resources do you think you're going to need, to help with retention, to help get more boots on the ground here in Austin?
So the first thing, again, what is the message that's being sent out in regards to our recruitment and retention? Because it's not just only recruitment. Staffing talks about keeping people here. We have to level set the conversation. We all know that in any civilized community, you need police officers. Now, what we need to make sure that we set the tone is, but we need good police officers. No department accepts bad officers. Ask any cop out there. And so when we have a unified message in regards to our leadership, beyond just even within the department, but also those who make up our community, beyond just elected leaders, we're talking about business community stakeholders. That's when you really start to work on that effort in a collaborative way, in an effective way. Tell your citizens that we want the police, good police, but we want, or actually, let me level set that. We need the police. And that helps in regards to, again, people want to be a part of that culture, be a part of that environment, and also keep those who want to stay in that environment.
What unified message would you tell your department? Could you talk about this unified message? What would that be for you?
First of all is that I thank you. I see you. I don't look at things with a glass half empty. I see it as half full. Within these staffing problems, you have individuals 24/7, 365 days a year, holidays included, keeping this city safe. We see you, we appreciate you. And I'm going to be that leader going to sit there and tell you every day, thank you. Set the tone for those of us who want to be part of that conversation to say the same thing. But it starts with that particular top leader within the department saying it first.
APD has a target response time of 10 minutes and 44 seconds. The last couple of months, it's been 13 minutes, 14 minutes. Even at the start of the year, it was 12 minutes. What can you do, or what approach do you want to take to get that response time closer to that target of 10:44?
So I know that there's national narratives in regards to what is the most impactful response time. So I think it's around like 9 minutes or so in regards to that. But I will say this, there has to be other opportunities that we need to explore in regards to what will help lighten the load, or what are we responding to and why. Does it require a sworn officer to respond? Are there alternative methods to respond? Utilizing all the tools in our toolbox to make sure that we are being efficient and effective. Does it always need an officer to respond for that particular type of call? Technology is a game changer. You can have things such as online reporting where there are things that may not need a police response that can be utilized in other ways and opportunities. Again, that's for me to look under the hood, see what's going on within that particular engine, and see where the opportunities with the team, because I'm not going to put this all on me. This is all a we. Working not only within the leadership team, within the department, but also our leaders in the city, with also our community. There's a lot of opportunities when we work together. The new crime strategy is collaboration, working together and being meaningful partners, not just in words, but in action.
Chief,
There have
follow
been-
up on that, any idea of what kind of crimes would not require an officer? Because that has been one of the frustrations of from a lot of our viewers is they'll report something and an officer won't respond to the scene.
So I will have to look into what is those opportunities. Again, it's about getting up to speed about what is the particular expectations. Each community has a different way of dealing with what's response and have a level of tolerance. But I always say that there is going to be opportunities. It's making sure that we are making the right type of decisions with those opportunities, with our elected officials, with our community, so that we're all on the same sheet of music.
Yes, there have been some issues with the black community in the past. What is your plan to win the trust of the black community?
Engagement. You have to be there to ensure that there is a relationship to have engagement. Community engagement is my core. I know you all did the research on me. I do this morning, noon, night, even with dessert. Because it's important for you to be, as a leader, to be at the tip of the arrow, to lean in, to show everyone else that this can be done. This is important to be able to have in regards to the first pillar of 21st century, trust and legitimacy. You cannot be legitimate if you're not trusted. And you cannot be trusted if you're not there. And we all need to embrace that as an organization to ensure that we are being there for the great conversations, but also the tough conversations. Community engagement is not just about water balloons and ice cream cones and popcorn. It's about those tough town hall meetings. It's about those coffee with an officer. It's about being out there, walking not in front of the community, not behind the community, but with the community. They'll give you grace when you do that. We're not going to win and get everything solved overnight, but they want to see progress, and they want to know that you have their best interests in mind. Servant leadership is about service and serving the community, and you can build that when you are having those meaningful relationships out there.
Chief, you talked about the Kroll report and the cover letter you submitted with your application and
Mm-hmm.
efforts to transform the training academy.
Mm-hmm.
One of Kroll's conclusions is that those efforts haven't been entirely successful because department leadership hasn't been fully committed to them. How would you approach realizing, all of those reforms and sustaining them?
So there is no I in team. It's a team approach, leadership approach to ensure the continuity. But there is issues with staffing too. You can have all the best training and plans if you're not dealing with in regards to how do you have a present and consistent staff. But all those things need to be looked into. I know that there is a lot of great accomplishments coming out of the particular Kroll report, the work that's being done, the changing of attitudes and culture, because culture is a huge thing in regards to ensuring that there's continuity. Continuity is not maintained by SOPs. It's not maintained by that you have to have every rule or training. Continuity is maintained by culture. That your culture wants to support these particular type of individuals, this type of behaviors. When you have that, SOPs support the culture to continue to have the continuity for future. And so one of the main things in regards to understanding the challenges with the Kroll report is, how do we work on culture? How do we embrace that particular service-minded, being a servant leader, being engaged, coaching and mentoring our people, and not just only from a training standpoint of those who are coming in, but those who are here. They complement each other. And so there's a lot of different opportunities. I would say that, that is a good stepping off point to, embrace. But creating a team to help that lift, understand that, working on some of the more foundational aspects of, support of having a good staff that can be there full time, not sometime. Ensuring that, there are reminders. I know what part of the Crow report they're talking about. There's nothing in the rooms that remind them about the culture. Ensuring that there is that reminder and, again, encouragement. So there's a number of different opportunities in there, and look more, further with the team to be able to ensure that, looking at what are going to be the immediate opportunities, what are going to be some intermediate, and what's going to be the long term. What's going on right now in regards to the workings with APD is not a sprint, it's a marathon. Ask for patience from our public. Ask for patience with, again, in regards to what this change will look like. But also know that the best interest in mind for the betterment of the city is there.
Based on what you know or have heard about, crime trends, public safety issues in Austin, are there any specific programs or changes that you'd be looking to implement pretty soon after getting into this position?
Well, again, I got to look under the hood. This is a situation where, from a lot of the gained research and talking to individuals, but without being inside and seeing the true inner workings, seeing what the accomplishments or what the improvements are, I like to say that once they bless me, if I am, good enough to be blessed to have this particular position.
And Cheech, if you do get that position, what do the first 100 days look like for you?
Keep on meeting you. Keep on getting out there. Understanding, just like was asked earlier, it's beyond just having this conversation via the cameras, whatnot. I am committed to being out in the community, being out there and showing in the way to the rest of the department, but also the rest of our community in regards to what we need to do more of. Talking to each other, not around each other, not under each other, but talking to each other. So building those relationships, letting people get to know who I am. That is important from our elected leaders, from our community leaders, to our residents, and also to our officers. They should know who I am. And getting out there and being able to be, again, proactive in that is very important.
Chief, can you tell us why
Uh-oh.
Austin?
So, when I looked at what the writings of what this community is looking for, speaks to my heart. You want to have a connected community with your department. You want to have someone who knows what it means to be a change agent, to work on challenges and have positive outcomes. This particular type of challenge is not new to me. The things I've dealt with in regards to my respective department has been, a labor of love, but through collaboration, great team members, supportive community, and electeds, things can happen when we all work together.
Chief, last year voters decided to increase police oversight. Many of those provisions have still not been implemented. It's at the center of a lawsuit right now against the city and some police leaders. What's your relationship like with civilian oversight? And also, will you commit to implementing all of those provisions that voters approved last year?
So, did you do your homework with me? I come from an oversight situation. And I don't want to speak tongue-in-cheek in regards to having a good relationship because of the commitment to have communication, to be an advocate, and to understand how to navigate in regards to, we're not always going to agree on everything, but at least we can have an understanding. And once that all been cleared up, you go and you get it done. In regards to some of the other challenges, again, it's for me to get a little bit more understanding of what those challenges are, what the opportunities are. I'm a can-do individual. I look at it from a situation that there is always a solution to every particular challenge, but need to know who's at the table and who we need to work with to get it done.
And I know
Chief,
you
can I
talk a
follow
lot
up
of-
on that real quick? Just, sorry.
I'm sorry, but the lady was her hand up before you. All right.
I was just going to ask, I know you're talking a lot about, community engagement, getting there out there with the public, but there's a big portion of advocates that are still pushing, to defund the police, things like that. What would you say to those people who are still trying to push that effort with something that you probably are against?
So this conversation is not new. I'm a, during the 2020 born chief. Not afraid of those conversations. Again, conversations are open opportunity. And it is important that, I don't have the final say on budgets. I don't have the final say in regards to what is the direction of what the city wants to have accomplished. So in the end, I stay in my lane. In regards to executive oversight for department, to work with what resources are given to us, to understand that you get the department that you pay for. That this is where we understand the separation of our particular roles and responsibilities. I stay in my lane. I work with what I have, deal with what I have, advocate on behalf of those who I have, and let the other chips fall where those particular decisions are made.
Thank you.
So yeah, Internal Affairs, that division, the work they do has been scrutinized in the past. It's currently at the heart of a separate civil lawsuit that Sky mentioned. Would you be open to ordering some kind of performance review to look at how Internal Affairs is performing, to see if there's ways that their work can be more transparent, more acceptable to members of the public?
So are you saying that the Internal Affairs is under investigation, or there's a lawsuit right now?
There's a civil lawsuit in a fatal shooting where the plaintiffs are alleging Internal Affairs didn't do a very good job investigating the incident.
Okay, so when it comes to any type of lawsuits, I don't comment on that in regards to that being a process. But what I will talk about, my transparency, and again, check the record. Transparency is hand in hand with me. There's nothing that we should do in regards to us as law enforcement where we cannot talk to the public about. We are responsible to the public, whether it's our elected leaders, whether it's our community members. What we can talk about, we should, but there are processes in place in regards to there's reasons why we cannot talk about certain things, especially when we talk about things of litigation. But I am all about transparency. I share our data back where I'm at. We talk about, I do this all the time. This is nothing new to me in regards to having these conversations. Where there are opportunities to share and to be able to enlighten our public, it helps us out when we are able to give a little bit of a background about what we have to deal with and what we do. So I'm not afraid of that, but I need to make sure that, again, understanding that there's different rules of engagement in different jurisdictions in different cities. So I want to ensure that I am following along those rules and lines and being that it's as transparent as possible within the guidelines that are, governing us.
There have been several points of contention between the police department and both city council and the district attorney's office. What would be your plan to address those relationships if you got this role?
I get along with everybody, so I will say that, just because in our respective roles we can have disagreements doesn't mean that we can't work with each other. I have a history. I just don't do messiness. I don't. People ask me, so, what do you think about what the DA did, whatever. My opinion doesn't matter in this situation. In regards to what matters is what are we doing with what we have to deal with. If there's actions that need to be explained by a different entity, I answer only to the organization I represent. I answer to no one else's organization. That is for you to ask those questions with those individuals. Because at the end of the day, they should be held accountable for their actions, for decisions, and what's going on.
But you will inevitably work together.
We work together. Key point. We work together. When you live in a glass house, you throw no stones. As much as I can throw a stone at someone else's organization, can throw a stone at me. And how productive is that? So when it comes to what we did, we will own it. We will talk about it. We understand that conversation is necessary. But in this particular position, in this particular person, you will not get me to talk about someone else's actions, explain or deal with that, because again, that is for this particular environment to make sure that you can get that done.
Chief, as you reflect on your time in Milwaukee, are there any policies, procedures, strategies that worked really well there that, just based on what you know so far about Austin, you think could work well here too?
Just a growing moment to see what the opportunities are. We would like to see different strategies being interchangeable. The only interchangeable strategy I can think of is engaging, because then you know how to best utilize the services. Sometimes we have to look at ourselves in regards to our law enforcement profession as somebody walks around with a tool belt. You got a lot of different tools to pull out, whether it's a monkey wrench, screwdriver, hammer. Understand that knowing the experiences you have, and again, I am blessed to have a great track record of getting things done in some of the most difficult situations. But no two communities are the same. No two problems are the same. But the tools that we have can be the same in regards to that. Something that may have worked could be of use, or maybe you have to dig a little deeper and figure out something else. I'm imaginative, I'm innovative, and I love working with a team who understands how to do that together.
Chief, Austin is also a capital city, and there's been some differences of opinion about how police should operate in the city between local city government and the governor. And I was curious about how you would approach those conversations to negotiate that situation.
So first of all, am I in the room? I don't know. I don't negotiate from podiums. You know, when it comes to those conversations, if that is something that individuals want to desire to hear my voice, I guess I got to get invited to the room. I don't negotiate in public. That's not negotiating. That's not where you need to have these crucial conversations. I talk to the person who wants to negotiate face to face if it's in my lane. Again, my wheelhouse, my subject matter expertise is law enforcement. I know it very well. Been doing it a long time. But depending on what that conversation is, I don't know if it's any use of having me there. I'm willing to talk to anybody willing to talk to me, invited to the room. There's so much to be gained when you have conversations together. Having separate conversations is not really a conversation. It's a monologue, actually. So it is important for me that if I'm invited to that room, I'm more than happy to be part of that conversation and see how we can both work together to get things done.
We can do one more. Anyone who hasn't had a chance.
Chief, one of the things about Austin is that it has a younger demographic. Specifically, you have the University of Texas right in your backyard, right? So
Great, my daughter can go there.
so, I mean, you've heard so far a lot about togetherness and community. How do you suppose you're going to connect to that younger demographic?
So some of the things that you don't know about my particular professional accomplishments, I do a lot of community work, a lot of board work. I'm on the board as a trustee for the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Milwaukee. I work with a number of different youth organizations. You're not going to get the type of future for your city if you don't embrace your young generation. When we talk about staffing, you have it right at your back door in regards to understanding that's where you're going to get your officers from. That's where you're going to get people who want to be part of our particular fabric of our city. And so, in the short answer, I love our kids no matter where you live. It's important for us to embrace that and important to be able to support that. I've been a mentor for a very long time, one-on-one mentoring, understanding that if we don't invest in our kids, then we are going to have the outcomes that we don't desire in regards to not being there for them. So I see all of Austin, even our younger generation, they have a voice. And sometimes when you stop and listen, they have some pretty impactful things to say that we should be taking a page out of. It's not just our older generation or middle, everyone.
All right, guys. Thanks so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Chief.